and he did not know where it was going. I watched him dust so many hitters accidentally. And back in the day, he hit a guy, they hit us, you
Yeah,
know?
right, right.
So it was like, he's got to figure this out, man. He's going to get our roster killed.
How we going, mates? Welcome to the Top Step presented by Warrior Injury Law. If you're injured, contact Attorney Robbins at 253-WARRIOR. Battle tested. All right, we've got some big news from the Seattle Mariners just a few days ago. Randy Johnson's number 51, is officially being retired by the Mariners. Look, I've got some thoughts on that. I grew up in the 90s, one of my favorites, what it means, and is it long overdue? And what made Randy such a force during his time in Seattle? Helping me with that is Harold Reynolds from MLB Network. You know who he is. He's on MLB Network every night. He was teammates with Randy. We're going to talk about some epic stories from the clubhouse and what was the turning point that turned Randy Johnson into the big unit. But before we dive in, go hit that subscribe button over at YouTube at the Top Step TV. If you haven't already, got all the extended interviews, all my breakdowns, some behind the scenes stuff. Look, don't miss it. Go to at the Top Step TV at YouTube. Go subscribe. Also, kids and parents of Little Leaguers, I have my camps this summer. 5 locations. We're talking Renton, Bellevue, Seattle, Edmonds, and Everett with the Aqua Sox. All skill levels. Come join me. Spend your summer with me. Plus, hey, by the way, Brian Woo's doing his pitching camp on August 4th. Don't miss that. That's at Bellevue. You get to hang out with Brian Woo. Are you kidding me? Future All-Star. That's right. Lock it in. Okay, that's August 4th. So go to go to nextgenbaseball.com. That's NXTGEN baseball.com. Click on the camps page and you'll see all the info. All right, let's get into it. Eyes on the M's, brought to you by King LASIK. Hey, mates, if you're ready for freedom from hassle with glasses and contacts, do what I did. Go to King LASIK. It was the best decision I ever made for my eyes. The procedure was easy and it was over in under 15 minutes, I swear. Start with a free Zoom consult at kinglasik.com. All right, let's get into it. The Seattle Mariners are doing something that I believe is long overdue, retiring the number 51 of a guy who wasn't just dominant, he was a game changer. A Hall of Famer, we know that, 100-plus WAR player over his career, but more importantly, here in Seattle, Randy Johnson was 9.5 years of absolute dominance. As a Mariner, Randy posted a 39 WAR mark in less than a decade. That's second only to Felix Hernandez in club history, who was, by the way, he was a 50 WAR player in 15 seasons. So let that sink in a little bit. Randy did a lot in his time here in the Seattle Mariners uniform. He did that in just 9.5 years. And for nearly a decade, he wasn't just one of the best pitchers in baseball. He was one of the most feared. Top 5 in Cy Young voting 5 times as a Mariner. He won it in 95. 4-time All-Star. Led the league in strikeouts 4 times in a Mariners uniform. And that was just his Mariners resume. Cy Young's got 4 of them with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and he just hit another level. We know that. But here's the thing. When you think about why Randy Johnson's number deserves to be on that wall in Seattle at T-Mobile Park, it's not just the stats. It's 1995. Let's get real. That year didn't just define Randy's Mariners legacy. It redefined the entire future of this franchise. We all know the story. The Mariners were being close to being relocated. There's a documentary about it. The Kingdome, it was outdated. Attendance was low, and the team had never made the playoffs. But in 1995, something happened, something magical. And it was Randy. Look, it was Junior. It was Edgar. But when it came to that one presence, that one intimidating force you had to deal with when you came to Seattle, it was the big unit. That tall, 6'10", that glare, 100 miles per hour with that absolutely nasty slider coming from behind your head if you're a lefty. Everything that he brought on the mound. And you talk to hitters from that era, and they'll all tell you, when you came to Seattle, it was the one guy that you just did not want to see. That's all you thought about on the plane ride over into Seattle. And look, the postseason run, especially in the ALDS against the Yankees, look, Randy Johnson pitching on short rest, came out of the bullpen. It was everything. That series win, that moment saved baseball in Seattle. Randy was a massive, massive part of that. And I don't say this lightly. It saved baseball in Seattle, right? We all know that. We can say that over and over. That's why number 51 belongs on that wall. not just because of who Randy Johnson was on the mound, but because of what he meant to this franchise. You've got Edgar's number up there, Junior's, Ichiro's, obviously Jackie Robinson, and now finally Randy Johnson gets that honor too. As a guy who stood on the mound, who knows what it takes to even survive in the big leagues, I look at Randy Johnson and see one of the most dominant forces this game has ever seen. All right, that was Eyes on the M's, brought to you by King LASIK. But hey, what about Randy as a teammate? What was it like to share a clubhouse with the big unit? How did he become, well, the big unit? Well, I've got someone who knows exactly what it was like. Harold Reynolds, his former teammate and now one of the best analysts in the game on MLB Network. He joins me next right here on the Top Step. Don't go anywhere.
I'm attorney Rob Iddens, proud Marine Corps veteran and owner of Warrior Injury Law. We help all types of injury victims, like Sean, who was rear-ended in a car accident.
They're just easy to work with. They're fast. I like the fact that he had military service. I can see a lot of Marine in Rob. He's very in charge, really gets things done. But I didn't have to do anything. He offered me a settlement, and I remember I had a number in my head was nearly double that. I would refer absolutely anybody to Rob.
If you've been injured, call us at 253-WARRIOR. Warrior Injury Law. Battle tested.
Olympic Hot Tubs Honoring Heroes event raised $25,800 for Alliance for Education.
I'm pleased to present them with this check.
This means so much to us, knowing that we have allies in the community like Don who care so much about creating a public education system that's quality to make the city of Seattle the quality city that we all want to live in.
I'm so honored to partner with Olympic Hot Tub, who does so much for our community. Do what my wife and I did and take your family's wellness to the next level with a soak, sauna, plunge, or swim from Olympic Hot Tub.
See life better with perfect, clear, natural vision from King LASIK.
Being a former professional athlete, I still love staying active. From paddleboarding, snowboarding, even playing with the kids, everything was such a hassle dealing with glasses and contacts. I'm so grateful to Dr. King and King LASIK. It's amazing how much better I see life.
I'm Dr. Joseph King. Let's free your eyes from the hassle of glasses and dirty contacts.
Schedule your free consult at kinglasik.com. King LASIK. See life better.
All right, welcome back to the Top Step. It is time for the San Juan Seltzer interview. I've got a very special guest, someone who I love watching on the MLB Network every night now in the national pregame show. It's Harold Reynolds. Harold, how you doing, mate? Welcome to the Top Step.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Hey, Ryan, I'm loving that T-shirt, man. I got to get one of those.
Hey, look, I wore this just for you, pretty much. I mean, look at this thing, man. How good is it?
Great memories. Brings back great memories.
For sure. The Kingdom. Hey, by the way,
did you ever play in the Dome? You were too young. That was probably imploded by the time you came around.
Harold, dude, I'm fascinated by the Kingdom. I'm not going to lie, because like, here's this structure, right? And at the time, and you tell me if I'm wrong here, but at the time it was like, you know, cutting edge technology, right? Like when they first built it, all you hear about is just like negative feedback in regards to, obviously I get it, man. T-Mobile Park came along, it's beautiful, and it still holds up now. But every time I bring up the Kingdom, everyone's like, oh, that place sucked. And I understand. But at the time, like when that thing was built, I mean, it's like, you know, you're playing baseball indoors out of the rain. So you have some good memories of the place?
Oh, man, absolutely. I mean, look, first of all, I grew up in Oregon. So when the Kingdom was built, it was like a big thing. That's a Northwest jewel at the time, right?
Yeah.
And they had the Space Needle, the Kingdom. Seattle was like this, like, wow, the Emerald City. And so when I first got a chance to go to the Kingdom, I went to the All-Star Game 1979. It was the first time I'd been in there. I was like, wow, this place is amazing. You know, and then playing there all those years, it has its pros and cons.
Yeah.
But what I loved about it was growing up in the Northwest, you know how much it rains. Mm-hmm. So it was a jewel to know that, hey, we're playing regardless. It can rain. It's going to be beautiful indoors, and you're going to play your game. And the only drawback for me was once summer hits in Seattle, there's no place in the country more beautiful. Yeah. And I remember walking out, you know, it gets dark late in the Northwest. And I remember walking out of games at 10 o'clock at night, and it's still sunny out, and going, man, I missed a whole bright sunny day.
Yeah. That's a good point. And by the way, everything you're saying now, it's that's always the thing. It's like, well, in the middle of summer. And by the way, every time I talk to like a visiting player, they're like, oh, Seattle's the best city, man. The weather's beautiful. I'm like, no, hang on a sec. Like, just pump the brakes. You're talking, 9 to 10 months, man. It can get pretty brutal. That's for sure. Hey, listen, man, this is some really good news happened a couple of days ago. Randy Johnson, his numbers retired. I'm not going to say finally retired. I mean, he talked about this going into the Hall of Fame as an Arizona Diamondback, which I 100% understand, like 100%. Mm-hmm. But look, you were teammates with him, and I wanted to get you on. But as soon as I heard the news, I was like, oh, I got to hit up Harold here to figure out what was he like as a teammate and coming over when he did, and kind of that evolution to make Randy Johnson one of the best ever.
Yeah, first off, I'll say incredible honor. Anytime you get your number retired or recognized, it's incredible. And I will say it's a long time coming. I thought they should have did this a long time ago. But they're doing it.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about Randy. He came over in the Mark Langston trade from Montreal. Gene Harris, Brian Holman, and Randy Johnson came over for Mark Langston. It didn't sit well in the clubhouse at all. I mean, Mark Langston was the AL premier pitcher. Like, he was striking out 200 a year and leading the league forever. He should be in the Mariner Hall of Fame, by the way. So we had to trade him because we got to that point where he's going to be a free agent. They moved him. We got back 3 players, and we don't know what their upside's going to be. We're players. We're on the field going, who are these young kids that just gave us back for Langston? Turns out Randy was amazing. Gene Harris was really good. Brian Holman almost threw a no-hitter. He had a really good career in Seattle.
Yeah.
But Randy ended up being the jewel of the deal. And, man, he could not throw a strike. He threw hard, but he didn't know where it was going. Nowhere.
Even when you go up to the big leagues, though, was it like that?
In the big leagues, he had no idea where it was going. It was all over the place. So here was the turning moment for Randy. All right, he's overpowering guys because he's throwing 90, 100 miles an hour, 99, 100. But he really has everybody scared to death getting the box. And even Randy's afraid that if he hits somebody, he's going to injure them. And that was his biggest problem. He knew he threw so hard. It wasn't like today when you got 5 or 6 guys throwing 100 on your team. This was like you had a few people in the league. We had a guy named the Rocket because he threw hard in Roger Clemens.
Right.
Then you have Nolan Ryan. And, you can almost go through and name all the guys that were the hard throwers. Randy was there and then some. And he did not know where it was going. I watched him dust so many hitters accidentally. And back in the day, he hit a guy, they hit us.
Right.
So it was like, he's got to figure this out, man. He's going to get our roster killed. So,
you and obviously the guys in the lineup are like, hey, man, listen, no more. Like, we can't be doing this because everyone's going to get killed.
Yeah, because if you let's take Tony La Russa for example, the Oakland A's. If you hit his 3-hitter, he hits your 3-hitter.
Right.
And his motto was 2 for 1. You hit one of my guys, I hit 2 of yours. So Randy comes in a game, and even though he doesn't know where it's going, and everybody knows that, he's hitting people. They're trying to hit you. That's just the way it is. So we go to Texas. I think Rick Griffin set this meeting up, or one of our pitching coaches, but he goes to lunch with Nolan Ryan. And Nolan's the premier. Well, he's Nolan Ryan. He's the premier pitcher in the league and throws hard and is not afraid to knock guys down and all that. And Randy's biggest thing, at least as far as I understood it, was he was afraid he was going to hurt somebody. So he goes to lunch with Nolan, and Nolan says, if you get a guy 3-0, throw it at him. You're going to walk him anyway. And watch, they'll get out of the way. That was his way of telling Randy, their job is to get out of the way. They'll get out of the way. So after that, he got over that fear of hitting people. And the next time we saw Randy throw again, he struck out, I think, 17 Rangers. And that was the beginning of the big unit.
Right.
And after that, it was like domination.
This segment is brought to you by Olympic Hot Tub, a daily soak in a saltwater hot spring spa, a swim in an endless pool swim spa, or a therapeutic session in a Tylo sauna. A way Olympic Hot Tub can help you feel, live, and be better. Start today at olympichottub.com. Better you, better life. I grew up 90s. That was Randy Johnson, huge fan, and I used to watch him go, man, like there is no one else like him on the planet to me. And obviously you played. I didn't have the same exposure, obviously you playing there, than I did back and sitting there in Australia.
I got a couple things that kind of remind me of Randy, since we'll go back to him real quick. But
let's do it.
Today, everybody uses PitchCom, and they're worried about tipping their pitches and all that. And there was a stretch where Randy was so dominant. They'd be like, Randy, you're tipping your pitches. And he'd go, good luck.
Right.
Yeah.
I
mean, he basically would say,
right.
Here's a fastball. I dare you to hit it. Here's my slider coming at you. He's like, I'm not changing my mechanics or my glove hold. Right. They think they got it, then hit it. That was kind of him. That was part of the bravado of Randy. And then the other thing was guys, when I was playing, tip signs all the time. That's why you have PitchCom and all these different decoding mechanisms now where you can't have people giving your signs. And I remember playing the Brewers, and they were the best at tipping signs from second and passing it to the hitter. And Paul Molitor's on second, Randy's pitching, and I walk over to Paul. I'm like, man, you don't want to be giving pitches right here. Randy sees you guys out here tipping pitches. And he's like, I'm not tipping pitches, because he knew once he got in the box, you were going to get drilled if you were tipping pitches. And so that was kind of a thing I used to use when Randy was pitching. Like, hey, Randy saw that. He's calling me to the mound. No, I'm not giving anything. And so nobody was giving anything when he was pitching.
Did you face Randy?
Yeah, I faced him actually. I'd faced him in spring training, but then I went to Baltimore in '93 and I faced him.
That's what I thought, yeah.
I faced him then. He was tough, man.
What was it about him? Because obviously they couldn't measure this, but obviously the extension, because he's so big, it looks like he's right on top of you. The height, arm angle. What was it about him that made him so tough?
His slider.
Okay.
It was coming out of the same arm angle as his fastball, but it was breaking like it was nasty.
Yeah.
And that was the big thing. And then his intimidation. I mean, he was an intimidator. And if you would have said that to the Randy Johnson who broke into big leagues, like, this guy's going to be the most intimidating pitcher in the big leagues, and people would have went, what? And then as he was heading out, even when he didn't have his greatest of great stuff in his latter years, he still had that stomp around the mound, that I'm going to intimidate you stuff going. So good for him.
What I mean, obviously the intimidation factor, but when you watch this generation of pitchers, right? If they went back, if you're a pitching coach and you said, look, I want you to go back and watch Randy, what could they take from him? Especially from a mound presence point of view.
Never worrying about pitch count. That was never a problem. I think guys today pitch to pitch count. Like, man, I just threw 30 pitches this last half inning. I only got another 2 or 3 more innings left if I get to go that far. Or they start with the mindset of, if I get 5, good job. Randy was, I don't care what the pitch count is. I'm going all the way. I want the ball the whole game, and don't even come out here and talk to me. And that was the other thing. It was like, you get that signal from the mound, like, hey, go talk to him, go talk to him. It's like, no, you go talk to him. All he's going to do is cut you out when you get there.
See life better with perfect, clear, natural vision from King LASIK.
Being a former professional athlete, I still love staying active. From paddleboarding, snowboarding, even playing with the kids, everything was such a hassle dealing with glasses and contacts. I'm so grateful to Dr. King and King LASIK. It's amazing how much better I see life.
I'm Dr. Joseph King. Let's free your eyes from the hassle of glasses and dirty contacts.
Schedule your free consult at kinglasik.com. King LASIK. See life better.
Olympic Hot Tubs Honoring Heroes event raised $25,800 for Alliance for Education.
I'm pleased to present them with this check.
This means so much to us, knowing that we have allies in the community like Don who care so much about creating a public education system that's quality to make the city of Seattle the quality city that we all want to live in.
I'm so honored to partner with Olympic Hot Tub, who does so much for our community. Do what my wife and I did and take your family's wellness to the next level with a soak, sauna, plunge, or swim from Olympic Hot Tub.
I'm attorney Rob Iddens, proud Marine Corps veteran and owner of Warrior Injury Law. We help all types of injury victims, like Alex. At just 16, she suffered trauma after a broadside collision with a delivery truck.
When I came in, they were so nice. They were just like, don't worry about anything. We'll take care of that. It's gonna be okay. Live your high school life. We got your back. And they did. I would recommend Rob because they have a passion for caring for people.
If you've been injured, call us at 253-WARRIOR. Warrior Injury Law. Battle tested.
Welcome back to the Top Step presented by Warrior Injury Law. If you're injured, contact attorney Rob Iddens at 253-WARRIOR. Battle tested. Okay, listen, I want to switch gears here real quick. Cal Raleigh is doing unbelievable things at the moment, and above expectations. But look, you do such a good job on MLB Network. Everyone, obviously, especially now, knows you. Watching you when you break down players and talk about guys. When you watch Cal, what he's doing now, he's on pace for ridiculous home run numbers, right? I'm just talking about the power numbers.
Yeah.
What is something you look at when you're watching him to say that this is sustainable, where he can keep this pace up all year long? Or as some guys, look, let's be honest, right? Some guys get that hot month and you're like, yeah, but there's things I see here that which tell me he's going to come back down to earth. What is it about when you're watching Cal? What is it about him that said, you know what, man, this is close to, he can sustain some of these really good power numbers?
Well, he gets better every year, and I think switch hitting helps him because he's not going to go into prolonged slumps, or he's not going to have a guy that's throwing nasty pitches that he can't hit.
Right.
So I think that gives you an advantage. And for him, having known him a little bit, talking with him about switch hitting, his dad started him so young, he doesn't know if he's natural right or natural left.
Right.
Like most switch hitters can tell you, oh, this is my natural side. And what managers usually do is they will look at the numbers like they do, they always have, and they'll try to flip you on the opposite side. If he's hot right now, left-handed, let's make him hit right. And with Cal, he's making it work from both sides. The only thing that says he probably can't keep this hot streak up for this long of a period of time is fatigue. They played him every game. And even when his day off, they put him in the lineup as a DH. I think you're going to have to figure out how to get him rest. Whether that's a Wednesday afternoon game off, Thursday is a travel day, play Friday, that gives him 2 days. Right. They got to figure out some ways to give him rest because you can't be on your legs as much as he is catching and think you're going to sustain it for the whole season.
Before I let you go, man, AL West, the Mariners right now, look, they're in a good spot. I still feel like once George Kirby gets back to being normal, Logan Gilbert comes back, I still feel like the foundation is going to be pitching, offense. You know what? A little bit of an upgrade from last year. That's in my opinion not all you need. But what's your point of view when you're looking? You get to cover 30 teams on a daily basis, obviously the MLB Network. When you look at this Mariners team, and I don't want to compare it to 2024, but what do they need to do to take care of this AL West?
Well, I think you're going to need some more offense. Obviously, the pitching is very sustainable. You have 6, when healthy, reliable starters now. And Wu was the guy everybody's like, well, he hasn't developed yet. He may be the number one guy we're going right now. Yeah. So I think the pitching's going to be fine. And we all knew that. This team was going to be built on pitching. I'm concerned about Cal Raleigh's carrying the offense. Right. And Julio seems to be starting to come around. He looks like he's getting back to the Julio Rodriguez we all love. But they got to get some more contribution. Right now, the team's swinging back really well. Mm-hmm. But I think over the course of the next couple months will tell us a lot. And you need bench. You got to have some bench. JP's going to get tired. He's going to need some rest. You can't grind these guys for 162 games. It's just not everybody's Cal Ripken, and you're going to have some depth.
Nice. Well, Harold, listen, man, this has been fun. I'll let you get back to your usual, but yeah, man, it's look, Randy Johnson. I'm stoked that he's going to be a bigger part of I mean, you think at half his career, right? Like, I think it was 9 years worth of. Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk WAR numbers and all that, he put up ridiculous just in a short period of time as a Seattle Mariner. Then he went off to do amazing things. But Harold, this has been fun, man. I appreciate you joining us.
Appreciate it, man. He was a big time drummer all the time too. He'd be in the back drumming constantly.
Really? In the clubhouse?
In the clubhouse in the back, all the way in the back, he has a drum set set up, and there'd be. You name it. The whole grunge movement would walk through. Nirvana, you name it. They were all coming back there and playing with Randy back there.
Really?
Yeah.
Hang on. So you had. So hold on. Before. So you had what guitars and stuff set up there, or would they?
Oh yeah, they had at one point when Mark Langston was there, they had a whole band. And they just continued that for years. And when Randy was. He's like, I can play back here? Like, yeah, they've been doing that for years, man. So he'd be back there all the time. Yeah.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Special thanks to former Mariner and MLB Network's Harold Reynolds for joining me and giving us all that good Randy insight. Look, make sure you go to @thetopstep.tv over at YouTube. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already, and follow us on X and Instagram @thetopstep.tv. You can also listen to The Top Step wherever you get your podcast. All right, mates. This was fun. We'll see you next week right here on The Top Step.